Live from the Crypto.com arena. Los Angeles, California, USA. The camera comes on with a shot of the live crowd in the Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles, California. As pyro goes off around the stage area, Violet Orlandi's cover of Black Sabbath's War Pigs starts to play through the arena. Generals gathered in their masses. Just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction. Sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields, the bodies burning. As the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind. Poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that role to the poor, yeah. Time will tell on their power minds. Making war just for fun. Treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes, yeah. Now in darkness, world stops turning. Ashes where their bodies burning. No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On their knees, the war pigs crawling. Begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing, spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah. The new WarZone logo comes up onto the screen as it does a flyby, as if by a drone, to then cut to the CWF announcers at ringside. Ben Price, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CWF's mainstay show, WarZone. Now in our third season. Eddie Vega, and tonight we're in the US baby. We're in the City of Angels. Ben Price, little trivia tidbit here. Los Angeles is in the world records for having the shortest abbreviation for the longest city name. Eddie Vega, what? LA is short for Los Angeles? Ben Price, the actual name of the city in Spanish is really long, El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles del Rio Porciuncula. It means the town of Our Lady, the Queen of the Angels of the River Porciuncula. Eddie Vega, well, that's today's dumb fact. How about what we have for a show tonight? The Bastards will be in trios action and be the X0N Trios champions by the end of tonight. Ben Price, we'll see about that. Pretty much, as we saw on our sister show, Vanguard earlier this week, we have 3 teams in our main event tonight as the X0N Trios championships will be crowned. It's between the aforementioned Bastards, the upstarts from AWS and Corey, and Bad Company, a new stable composed of Team Reinhardt and Greg Salazar. Eddie Vega, Season 3 is just starting and we already have exciting things. Ben Price, that's for sure. Later on tonight we'll also see Lady Lana gets a shot to dethrone New Valor champion Ira Waters, and Ben Murdoch will be challenging for the elite title held by Valora Salinas. Eddie Vega, Salinas is so far the only champion in the CWF who has not lost their title. Ben Price, we have a lot of debuts tonight as well as the landscape is changing all around. Eddie Vega, let's get Season 3 started, which for once I'm being told we're going backstage to be joined by our main girl, Alyssa Lucci, and the elite champion. The camera cuts backstage and we see Alyssa Lucci standing near the wrestler's entrance. This time she happens to score big as the elite champion. Valora Salinas walks in, the belt draped over her shoulder. Alyssa walks over to her and smiles. Alyssa Lucci, Valora. Do you have time for a few questions? Valora glances at Alyssa as the 2 women walk through the backstage area. Valora Salinas, sure. Why the fuck not? Alyssa Lucci, okay. So then Rob Riot. Valora cuts her off with a glare and an actual growl. Valora Salinas, it sounds to me like he made his case clear. It seems he prefers the co. Valora cuts herself and winks. Valora Salinas, ahem. He made his choice. Choices have consequences. That's all I am saying about that. Ask me about Rob Riot, that isn't a match question, and I swear to fuck I'll put you face first into that vending machine over there. Alyssa, surprisingly, doesn't seem intimidated. She's experienced in dealing with Valora and takes the threat in stride. Alyssa Lucci, hardball? Okay. You have made a number of threats to buy the CWF. Is there anything to back it up or is this idle talk? And how would your reign be an improvement? Valora smirks and shrugs. Valora Salinas, you'll have to wait and see. But something needs to be done. And the question isn't how I do better, the question is could I possibly be any worse? The answer is fuck no. Blaze is competent at his job, and if he had any degree of power, it might be a different story. Look at it. What's more likely? That myself, Abigail, Rob Riot, and other wrestlers are just whiny bitches, or is there something to all the accusations? Where is Armand? In his ivory fucking tower, that's where. Now, can I hope for a wrestling question, or is that too much to ask for? Alyssa laughs a bit and nods. Alyssa Lucci, alright. Before we get to your match, let's talk about the title picture. It has been rumored that you stayed out of the Conquest title picture because Rob Riot was the champion. The implication being that now he is not the champ, you might make a move. Valora looks at Alyssa for a few seconds and shrugs. Valora Salinas, right now, I'm focused on my elite title match tonight. I mean, Cronin found a personality. Congratulations, I'm very happy for him, even if it is the same personality he had back in 2009 when he was an insufferable shit. Maybe I'll let CWF fans see Valora versus Cronin 5000. Maybe I'll take his fucking title. Maybe I'll let inept management put in assholes who literally just stepped inside the door over someone who was undefeated in CWF. Over my daughter who went and nabbed a belt in AWS. Over Eddie Williams, who, bastard he might be, but is also a shit ton more talented on his worst day than El Gringo shitbag will be. Aaron Hunter? Not worth a shot at the belt. Apathy? Not worth a title shot. Padre Nate? Not worth a title shot. I mean, if you're going to give a newcomer a title shot, why not someone who's actually held gold before? There are more, but my point is made. It's no accident that the top 3 world title champion contenders are Cronin, Rob Riot, and Greg Salazar. I mean, looking at that, the upstarts almost have a point. Alyssa Lucci, you aren't worried you might be in the same picture? Valora laughs and shakes her head. Valora Salinas, I gave Ravenna, herself a rookie, 2 or 3 shots at my belt. Eddie Samo. Iro Waters. Steve Murdoch is getting a shot. I've always been an equal opportunity ass kicker. Alyssa nods and continues. Alyssa Lucci, about that. Your title match tonight. A parking lot brawl. You're getting up there in age, and you've not been competing in out-and-out hardcore matches for a time. Are you at all worried? Valora Salinas, nope. Talk to all the gossipy twats that love to run their mouths about me. Sometime they're going on about how they don't like me. Or don't trust me. Or how I'm not family-friendly enough. Or this or that. Or complete fictional accounts of history and my trustworthiness based on betrayals that never happened, or were not caused by me, betrayals that are supposedly coming any day now, never mind that they never did come. Valora pauses here and glances at Alyssa as she makes the talking gesture with her hand and rolls her eyes. Valora Salinas, it all comes out to the same general thing. Valora Salinas is dangerous and you don't want to be her enemy. Steve Murdoch is about to learn that. Alyssa Lucci, you do seem to take umbrage with the view of your perceived disloyalty and untrustworthiness. Have you thought about the trios titles or tag team run? Valora Salinas, no. I'm not so desperate to prove the shit talkers wrong that I'm going to shack up with just anyone. Liney Trump. His sex toy. All the others can try to make up fucking history that never happened all they want. If Rob Riot is dumb enough to listen to fiction rather than the evidence in front of his face that is on him. If Greg Salazar wants to hold a grudge because Ravenna couldn't keep up with me, that's on him. This isn't a reality show. I'm not here to make friends. The truth is, my loyalty is as strong as the people around me are. Blaze McClancy has learned that. I make a commitment, I honor that commitment. Alyssa Lucci, okay, I know what you said, but we passed that vending machine a while ago, now. We're talking about betrayal and loyalty. Can you really say you don't feel betrayed by Rob Riot choosing to side with Frank Windsor and the Bastards? Valora stops her walking and turns on her heel, looking at Alyssa and advances on her, backing the reporter up against a wall. Valora Salinas, first of all, he never said he was choosing them over me. The only thing he has said so far is that he refuses to answer questions about it. A stance I am coming very close to taking myself. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. If he decides to listen to Limey Trump over me and over his Dow heir Abigail, then there will obviously be consequences for that. But for once in my life, I'm not going to listen to my paranoia. Secondly, why ask me? Go ask Greg Salazar why he doesn't trust me. Go ask Cronin. I mean, they're both doing the same thing you accuse Rob Riot of doing. They are choosing not to make an alliance with a very good ally option because of why. Go be a reporter and ask them. As Valora finishes her remarks, she uses her index and middle finger to simulate legs running before she turns on her heel and walks off camera. Alyssa gulps and turns, only to see Abigail emerge from the upstart's locker room, and she recovers and recomposes herself, walking over to her. Alyssa Lucci, Abigail. You've been making some pointed accusations against how CWF is run. For those who will want proof of said accusations, can you provide proof? Abigail lets out a sigh and nods. Abigail Dresden, proof? Valor title division rules are clearly stated. It is to be a pure wrestling match. The belt can change hands on disqualification. The Valor title must be defended every show. The Valor champion cannot refuse a challenge made to him or her. Those are the rules, right? Alyssa nods. Alyssa Lucci, as I understand them, yes. Abigail nods. Abigail Dresden, cool. Then how does Riot's monster have a title cash-in still? Forgetting he got into a world title match he had no business in the first place. When he fought me, he cheated. Even if you refuse to believe he loaded a weapon in his elbow pad, Eddie Williams cheated and helped him out. So much for pure wrestling. Riot's monster should have been DQ'd at the very least. His cash-in should be tossed in the bin. But despite claiming to hate them, Armand actually goes out of his way to allow the bastards to indulge in their farce. This bollocks of them being the most elite stable in wrestling. To be that, they'd have to be able to win a match fairly. In the ring. They can only win by cheating cheap shots and backstage assaults. Forgive me for not bowing to the so-called lords of wrestling. However, now that I've criticized them, Rob Riot made a claim that his button did not work during the match. I watched that match and noticed the clock just jumped ahead at times. So maybe someone should look into Riot's claims and the weird timekeeping? No, Armand can't be bothered. I believe Blaze McClancy is fair and competent. But I'm also getting tired of hearing that he can't do anything about things. I took on and defeated the bastards in Season 2. I have performed in every high-profile match I've been in. I'm the bloody AWS Legacy Champion. And yet if I don't go hunting a champion down and challenging them myself, you know when I would get a title shot? Maybe. Maybe I'd be lucky to earn a title shot before 25. Maybe. CWF is too busy giving the Millionaires Club title shots and giving shots to unproven nobody's what walked right in from the street to give title opportunities to young talent that has earned it. Alyssa Lucci, some tough words there, but you have a title opportunity now. Abigail Dresden, yeah. An icon title. Not a CWF title. And, rather than punish the bastards for interrupting and ruining a match, Blaze rewards them by making a triple threat trios match. So not only did the fans get robbed of seeing who's better, Bad Company or the upstarts. Not only do me and Miguel and Tetsuoni Ford get robbed of a chance to potentially earn a tag title shot, but now, instead of having to plan for one team of 3, we need to face 2 teams of 3. Do I need to continue? Point out how many wrestlers have suffered because of the ineptitude of the Von Kraus duo? I don't think so. If you'll excuse me. I need my caffeine while my teammates and I try to fix another mess that CWF management, both Von Kraus and McClancy, have made for us. Abigail walks off to a vending machine where she grabs a couple of cans of Pepsi and heads back into the upstart's locker room. Ben Price, strong words from the Salinas clan. Eddie Vega, when are they going to learn you don't bite the hand that feeds you? Ben Price, speaking of biting, let's get to our first match. Larry Lansdowne made it huge in his debut at Urban Warfare, defeating Demonic. Tonight he's got Owen O'Rourke returning from his suspension. Eddie Vega, this should be good. Fed UPS day or night. For when you need it right TF now. The cameras cut to the back immediately from Eddie Vega queuing them up, but instead of the expected sight, the cameraman is running towards the sound of a disturbance backstage. Coming around a corner, we see Team Viper in the midst of beating up Malibu Mike Swanson. Swanson is currently trading blows with Mad Morales, and Kyle comes up and clubs the man in the back before he and Kyle then throw the man face first into the wall. Kyle grabs a chair and holds it like a baseball bat as Mad Morales pulls Mike Swanson to his feet and whips him towards Kyle, who hits a sick chair shot that sends Mike to the ground in a heap. Ben Price, Jesus Christ. Fans, Team Viper is assaulting Malibu Mike Swanson. He is an active wrestler but also works more as a talent scout and instructor working with young talent than he is a member of the roster looking for titles. Eddie Vega, while the pretty boy might not be so pretty coming out from this. But where's the big one? That question is answered when Nick Brandon staggers in, bleeding from the head, and Pika Freak swings the steel chair again and levels the man. Mad Morales grabs and sets up two tables and directs traffic as both Monster Mammoth and Kyle slam their men through tables with vicious powerbombs. Monster Mammoth sees the cameraman and walks over, grabbing the camera with both hands and yanks it away from the cameraman as he looks into the lens. Monster Mammoth, do we have your attention now? The camera cuts out abruptly as Monster Mammoth slams it onto the ground. Ben Price, my God. Eddie Vega, well, that was stupid. Blaze is definitely taking the cost of that camera's replacement out of Team Viper's salaries. Ben Price, Season 3 is not off to a good start. 5 men have been attacked and 3 of them seriously injured. I'm beginning to think Valora and Abigail might be right in their criticisms about management of the Fed. Eddie Vega, you said that, I didn't say nothing. Ben Price, well, let's get back to real wrestling action in the ring, as the debuting Father Nathan will be taking on Apathy. Eric Wilson, the following contest is scheduled for one fall. Featuring first the challenger, hailing from Dublin, Ireland, he is Father Nathan O'Connell. The lights around the arena go dark and a mist begins to form around the entryway and down the ramp. Nathan seems to materialize from the mist itself as he walks out and pauses, taking a look at the crowd, and then makes his way at a steady pace to the ring, climbing up into the ring. Once in the ring, he throws a few warm-up punches and falls back to his corner to await the start of the fight. Ben Price, strange that he would come down to the ring with a mist. Seems vaguely demonic. Eddie Vega, or maybe it's meant to be angelic. Ben Price, I suppose that could be right. Eddie Vega, I know it is. Eric Wilson, and his opponent, hailing from Alsace-Lorraine, France, she is Apathy Elizabeth Devereaux O'Rourke. The sound of a vintage picture reel began to click and pop, the screen illuminating up, counting down like a picture show. The pops, scratches, nicks, and debris covered the screen, the numbers counting down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, as the reel continued, the faint familiar sound of a text message being composed. The telltale sound of clicks followed by the sound of a message received. The demonic, distorted voice of SKIND creeps through. You're gonna have to prove me wrong. On the screen, a barrage of action shots, in still form from Apathy's career, centered and fixated, like an old film would. As the arena went down, red and white lights bathing the fans in a sea of color, Elizabeth rises from beneath the stage, head lowered, arms outstretched. A mixed chorus of boos, jeers and cheers pelted at her. She gradually raises her head, soaking in the animosity and fervent support. Inhaling it like a drug. Hashtag I love you, now die. I love you, now die. I love you, now die. I love you, now hashtag. As the heavy bass kicks in and the words of the chorus reverberate through the arena, she snaps her head up, a cocky self-assured smirk creeping across her lips as she saunters her way to the ring, casually engaging towards the fans, either encouraging more of their venomous verbal harassment or acknowledging the respect and adoration from her legions and devotees, basking in the glow. Hashtag go, in your truck and drive in a parking lot. Do it early, do it now. Do it early, do it now. Go, just park and sit there in your car. It will take 20 minutes. It will take 20 minutes. Hashtag go, in your truck and drive in a parking lot. Do it early, do it now. Do it early, do it now. Go, just park and sit there in your car. It will take 20 minutes. It will take 20 minutes. Hashtag. As the perverse and twisted sound of SKIND's auto-tuned verbal melody pulsates through the speakers, Elizabeth stops at the base of the walkway, grinning from ear to ear as she playfully mouths the words, "It will take 20 minutes, holding up 2 fingers and flashing them forwards and backwards as she says 20 minutes, then rushes the apron, hopping up and catapulting herself over the top rope, rolling through to the far side of the ring and climbing the turnbuckle and extending her arms, bowing aristocratically and smugly as her coup de grace. Ben Price, Apathy actually seems somewhat pale. Eddie Vega, yeah, she don't look quite right. As the bell rings to start the match, Apathy and Father Nathan meet in the center of the ring. Apathy gets into a fighting stance, but Father Nathan only frowns. In fact, he motions to her and rubs his face as if she has something on her face. Which, she does. She's bleeding from the nose and doesn't seem to feel it. Apathy finally listens to reason and touches her mouth, feeling the blood trickling out from there. She takes a wild swing at Father Nathan that is dodged before she falls to her knees and onto her face. Father Nathan looks at the referee, Georgina Ross, and rolls Apathy over with his foot. She's out cold. Georgina motions for the bell to be sounded and then to CWF ringside medic, Daniel Corgan, to come into the ring. As he is being checked, Georgina signals for the bell and raises Father Nathan's hand. Eric Wilson, winner of the match because his opponent can no longer continue, Father Nathan O'Connell. Father Nathan doesn't celebrate long, joining Daniel Corgan in checking on Apathy, who is not responsive. Ben Price, we will be back after these messages. Hopefully, the situation in the ring will be cleared up. Eddie Vega, you mean once we get Apathy stretchered out and her blood cleaned up? Say it like you mean it. Ben Price, I will. Eddie Vega, and sounds like Apathy's hubby has caught up with Gabriel Tuck backstage. Backstage, Gabriel Tuck is seen walking down the hallway. He smiles as he turns over the thumb drive that he was given in his hand. Gabriel Tuck, easiest $50 worth of Bitcoin I've made in weeks. Gabriel stops in his tracks when he hears commotion behind him. He turns around to get clocked in the jaw by Owen O'Rourke. Gabriel staggers back a few steps and pockets the thumb drive before he rubs at his jaw. Owen O'Rourke, the fuck you blindsiding me for? Gabriel grins before answering. Gabriel Tuck, Troy was worried that people might get physical with him when he's trying to keep the bad guys from breaking the rules. He's paying me $50 a pop to deal with it in my own way. Owen O'Rourke, you got him paying protection? You little fucker, let's take this dispute to the ring at the next Vanguard? Gabriel just shrugs. Gabriel Tuck, well, if you want to get your ass kicked, I'm game. Owen O'Rourke, you better be there. I'll be talking to Blaze about getting the match booked. Gabriel Tuck, we could go now if you like. It doesn't matter when I kick your ass. Owen O'Rourke, well, fuck it. The two begin brawling, but security is right there to break it up and haul the two back from one another. Owen O'Rourke, this isn't over, Gabriel. I'll be stomping you into the ground. Gabriel Tuck, fine talk for a fucker who will be staring up at the lights. Asylum Wrestling Society presents Anarchy. Live at the OVO Hydro in Glasgow. Join us as the Undying Twins take on the center of attention in a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the AWS Tag Team titles. See the AWS C4 Division Championship being defended in an Ultimate X match. Look on in wonder as Ace Sky, TJ Alexander, Summer Bliss, Drake Nigma, and Tetsuo Oni4 all try to take the title from Xander Croft. Be disgusted as Scotty Payne defends his AWS Deathmatch Championship against Jamal Payne in a no-roped barbed wire deathmatch. And be amazed as Abigail Dresden takes on Necra Octavian Kane in a 2 out of 3 falls match. But that's not all. Both the AWS United Kingdom Championship and the AWS Legacy Championship will be on the line. And the night comes to a close with a triple threat match in an abandoned asylum. Watch as Eddie Williams fights Ethan Murphy fights Mystery Man for the AWS Apex Championship. If the Mystery Man loses this match, he must unmask live on the show. All this and much, much more. Come down to Anarchy. Live at the OVO Hydro in Glasgow. The camera comes back to the show. Ben Price, welcome back. We're getting ready for our next match, the Valor title defense for tonight. Eddie Vega, Lady Lana was actually impressive in the Valor title scramble at Urban Warfare. Can she defeat Iro Waters tonight when it's one-on-one? Eric Wilson, the following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the CWF Valora Championship. Featuring first the challenger, hailing from London, England, she is Lady Lana Hill. Back in Black by AC/DC begins playing as Mark and Fred, her bodyguards, walk out from the back. They check the area before allowing Lady Lana Hill to walk out from the back. The fans begin to cheer as she makes her appearance and she smiles and waves at her fans. The bodyguards lead her down to the ring where they open the ropes so that she can enter. She walks around the ring, getting the fans to cheer louder and louder as she walks. Ben Price, Lana did well at Urban Warfare in battling for the Valor title, getting a pinfall during the match. She did not manage to come away with the title, but has earned herself a title shot. Eddie Vega, are you sure this just isn't to give Iro an easy win? Ben Price, I really doubt it. Lana has pulled off a few wins here and there. Eddie Vega, I mean, with the help of her bodyguards, but yes. She has won a few matches here in CWF. Eric Wilson, and her opponent, hailing from Paradise, California, he is the CWF Valor Champion. He is Iro Waters. The opening riff of Built to Last by the Protoman hits, and Iro Waters walks to the ring casually and fist bumps a few fans, undaunted by tonight's challenge. He climbs into the ring, hops up to the second rope of the nearest turnbuckle, and gives the crowd a thumbs up. He hops down to the mat and hands off the Valor Championship belt to the referee for display and handing off to the timekeeper. Ben Price, Iro Waters has had a hard time getting any traction here in the CWF for the past few months. Then, he turned it all around in one night at Urban Warfare where he won the Valor Championship. Eddie Vega, now, he has to be able to defend this championship. Lady Lana is also hungry for gold and may just take Iro down. Ben Price, this is true. She has the potential to be a champion. Eddie Vega, maybe the bodyguards won't get involved in this match. Maybe. As the bell sounds to start the match, Lady Lana advances across the ring to the smiling Iro Waters and clocks him in the jaw. Before Iro can recover from the sudden attack, Lana whips him into the ropes and clotheslines him on the rebound, nearly turning Iro inside out as he flips over from the impact. Lana goes across the ring and watches as Iro quickly gets up. She hits an honor roll, knocking Iro back down again. She rolls him onto his back and quickly goes for the pinfall. Ashley Beaton gets into position to make the count. 1, 2. Iro kicks out. Lana jumps to her feet and goes to the ropes, but Iro is up and meets her on the rebound with an arm drag. Lana manages to land on her feet and goes for a snap super kick, but Iro backpedals out of range and grabs her by the offending ankle. He sweeps her other leg out from under her and drops her to the mat. Ben Price, Iro taking the advantage back. Eddie Vega, that was a quick reversal. Lana is back up quickly, but is grabbed and dropped in a neckbreaker. Iro jumps to his feet and runs to the ropes, hanging onto the ropes when he sees that Lana is already up and waiting for him. She takes off running at him, clotheslining him over the ropes to the concrete floor. Lana holds onto the ropes, looking down at the fallen Iro. She backs up a few steps, placing the back of her hand to her forehead and swoons. Ashley sweeps in to check on her after she falls to the mat while Mark and Fred slam Iro's head into the ring apron and roll him back into the ring before scattering when Ashley turns back around to see what Iro is doing. Lana gets back up to her feet and smirks a little before walking over to the downed Iro. She backs up to the ropes and bounces off of them and goes for an Empire elbow, but Iro Waters rolls out of the way so that she lands on the mat. Ben Price, are we totally certain that Lana doesn't know that her bodyguards help? Eddie Vega, she's an innocent party in all of this. She should probably be scolding her bodyguards for getting involved after the match. Once she sees the tape, Iro Waters gets up to his feet and hits an elbow strike to the jaw of Lady Lana, staggering her back a few steps. He then kicks her in the gut to double her over and begins slamming her with double axe handle smashes until she is face down on the mat. He nudges her over with a foot and goes for the cover, pressing an elbow against her jaw while he does so. Ashley Beaton gets into position to make the count. 1, 2. Lana kicks out. Ben Price, that was a close one for Lana. She nearly lost the match. Eddie Vega, well. Try again. Though if he doesn't put her down, she might rally and take him down. Iro Waters gets up and pulls Lady Lana up, applying a full Nelson. Ashley Beaton checks to see if she will submit, but she refuses and brings a leg back to hit a low blow to get Iro to release the hold. Lana spins around while Iro is doubled over in pain and grabs him in a front face lock. She hits a perfectly normal DDT. She gets back up and watches as Iro slowly gets to his feet and grabs him by the arm for an Irish whip. She follows, and as Iro hits the ropes to turn around for the rebound, she strikes him in the jaw with a super kick that sends him over the ropes and to the floor. Ben Price, that was a heck of a super kick. Eddie Vega, see? Can't be sleeping on Lana. She'll surprise you. Lana slides out of the ring, but on a side where Iro isn't. Iro slowly gets up and starts to climb the steps when Lana dives over the corner of the ring to catch Iro with a suicide dive tornado DDT to the concrete floor. Lana rolls Iro into the ring and follows. She climbs to the top rope and throws her arms into the air to the cheering of the crowd and leaps into the air for a shooting star press. Iro water rolls at the last moment, catching the falling Lana in the side of the head with an elbow strike with that modified elbow. Lana crashes to the mat and Iro crawls over to make the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Eric Wilson, winner of the match via pinfall and still CWF Valor champion, Iro Waters. Iro Waters celebrates his win in the ring while Lana slowly stirs and makes her way to the back with the help of her bodyguards. Atlanta Fried Chicken. Best fried chicken this side of Kentucky, and as a bonus, it's not cat. Cannot guarantee that it's not cat. The camera comes back to Eric Wilson in the ring. Ben Price, welcome back. It's time for another debut for tonight as Wicked Cat Hale is taking on the CWF mainstay, Mysterian. Eric Wilson, the following contest is scheduled for one fall. Featuring first, hailing from Grand Junction, Colorado, she is Wicked Cat Hale. The lights begin flashing green, blue, and red as the initial jingle of the entrance song starts. Cat delays hitting the stage for those initial 7 seconds. She comes out wearing a black leather jacket that stops at her midriff, and she comes out with high energy, throwing up the rock and roll devil horns a few times, before moving to either side of the stage to engage with the crowd, pointing towards them and then starting to make her way down to the ring. She'll continue interacting with fans near the ramp, high-fiving and occasionally pausing to throw up devil horns with other members of the audience. She makes her way to the south side of the ring, jumps onto the apron, and throws her hands out to either side to pose for the audience. Then, slipping under the middle rope, moves to the opposite end of the ring. Climbing onto the middle rope of the turnbuckle, she'll rock up and down with her head down, covering the top rope until rising and flipping her hair back over her shoulders and pose with her arms spread once again, pointing to members of the audience. At last, she'll step down and strip off her jacket, readying herself for the match. Ben Price, Wicked Cat Hale came on during the break, so this is her debut match here in CWF. Eddie Vega, she looks energetic enough to handle things. Let's see how she deals with Mysterian. Eric Wilson, and her opponent from parts unknown, Mysterian. The house lights lower and a spotlight falls on the stage, highlighting the entrance from the back. Everything slowly falls silent until an electronically distorted voice sounds over the PA. Who is Mysterian? Basket Case by Offspring kicks off at a deafening volume and strobe lights suddenly start flashing crazily, as though controlled by a kid with ADHD on a sugar rush. Fireworks tear off into the rafters, flooding the empty upper stadium in light. The excitement levels of the crowd grow. Surely an entrance such as this eludes a someone. A big someone. Suddenly that distorted voice sounds again as it once more asks, who is Mysterian? A spray of sparks erupts on either side of the stage and a man bursts through onto the stage. The voice sticks to a loop, repeating the words. He is Mysterian. He is Mysterian. He is Mysterian. The spotlight refocuses on the animated, excited wrestler to reveal the Easter Bunny. Mysterian, dressed up as the Easter Bunny, complete with a basket of goodies, hops out from the back and starts making his way down to the ring. He stops from time to time at random, handing off Easter eggs to children who reach out. Once his basket is empty, he rolls into the ring and gets into a fighting stance. Ben Price, Easter wasn't that long ago, so this is still a sort of timely disguise to have. Eddie Vega, it is interesting to say the least. Them big ol' floppy ears give something to grab onto. As the bell sounds to start the match, Cat Hale meets up with Mysterian in the middle of the ring and acts as if she is going to lock up with him, but turns. She nails a spinning elbow and grabs hold of Mysterian, whipping him into the ropes. On the rebound, she runs at Mysterian, leaping through the air and hitting a Hurricane Rana to bring Mysterian down to the mat. Kat gets to her feet and watches as Mysterian slowly gets back up and hits a drop kick to send him crashing back down to the mat. Mysterian pops right back up, only to be nailed with another drop kick. He pops up again, only to be hit by a third drop kick. This time Mysterian is slower to get up, getting to his hands and knees. Kat does a handstand flip leg drop to the back of Mysterian's head to send him crashing face-first to the mat. Ben Price, Kat Hale using the high energy to good use against Mysterian. The leg drop came out of nowhere. Eddie Vega, I don't know that she's doing a lot of damage with these moves, but string enough of them together and you have something. Kat grabs Mysterian by the ears to pull him up to his feet. She then grabs him by the arm for an arm wrench that pulls him to his knees before releasing him and snapping a vicious super kick that sends Mysterian down to the mat with enough force that he rolls over onto his back and lays there as if he was shot. Ben Price, that super kick was harsh. Eddie Vega, indeed. I liked the execution of it. Kat walks around the down Mysterian, almost seemingly pitying her opponent. She grabs him in a modified crossface, pinning the arm of Mysterian backward between her legs while wrenching the neck in a move that she calls Bound by Blood. It doesn't take long for referee Scott Jones to notice that Mysterian doesn't seem to be in any pain. In fact, he's out cold. Scott signals for the bell to end the match. Eric Wilson, winner of the match via submission, Wicked Kat Hale. Ben Price, at least Mysterian tried? Eddie Vega, tried what? He was stumped from beginning to end of the match. He didn't get a single move off. It was like the controlling force behind him didn't exist. Ben Price, what? Eddie Vega, nothing. Wicked Kat Hale celebrates her win in the middle of the ring while Mysterian slinks away to the back. Ben Price, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 more huge matches for you tonight, so we have to sneak in another commercial here. Icon Wrestling Entertainment presents Champions Carnival. Live from the O2 Arena. London, England, UK. April 28, 24. We come back from commercial as the announcers are seen with their monitors up in front of them. Ben Price, we're back, and it's time to go to the parking lot for an elite title defense. Eddie Vega, Valora Salinas herself asked for this stipulation. Will it pay off for her? We'll have to see. The camera cuts to the parking garage for the Crypto.com arena. One of the areas in the parking garage has been cleared and there are a number of cars arranged in a giant circle, headlights facing the middle of the circle, providing a lot of the lighting for the ring. Inside the ring, Eric Acosta Alvarez looks around. Inspecting the cars, most of them luxury cars of varying sorts. We hear the voice of Eric Wilson, the ring announcer, as the jumbotrons in the arena turn on to show the stadium audience the next match. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the next match is for the Elite Championship and it is a parking lot brawl match. To win the match, you must beat your opponent to the point they are unable to answer a 10 count. There are no count-outs, no disqualifications, the only rule is to win the fight. Introducing first, the challenger. Hailing from Dallas, Texas, he stands 6 feet, 5 inches and weighs in at 220 pounds. He lays claim to the moniker, the hardcore icon. He is Steve Murdoch. Reigning Blood by Slayer plays both in the arena and the parking garage as an elevator lowers down and opens to reveal Steve Murdoch. He walks out of the elevator and makes his way to the ring and looks at the cars as he walks in and takes his position in the ring, throwing a few punches to get warmed up. Ben Price, and here we have Steve Murdoch. I have to give this man credit. Valora Salinas is an intimidating figure and more than a few fighters have shown some signs of obvious anxiety or nervousness. Steve Murdoch has been given a golden title opportunity and has seized it. Eddie Vega, he's a better man than me, Benny boy. You could not pay me enough money to fight Valora Salinas in a legit street fight in a freaking parking garage. Eric Wilson, and introducing his opponent. She is the reigning and defending CWF Elite Champion. Hailing from right here in Los Angeles, California, she stands 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighs in at 145 pounds. She also lays claim to the moniker of the hardcore icon, Valora Salinas. Bring It by Trapped plays in the stadium and parking garage and the sound of a motorcycle rings out through the parking garage as a Kawasaki Ninja sports motorcycle runs down one of the ramps and moves over. Parking near the match area, Valora gets off the bike, blowing a bubble and taking her sunglasses off before storing them in the bike's case. She makes her way through the parking garage and looks at the cars as the last car comes in to completely close off the ring. Valora takes her belt off and hands it to Eric Acosta Alvarez, who takes the belt and holds it up, both fighters taking a look at it before moving to stand toe-to-toe, neither backing down from the other as they exchange words, Murdoch pointing to Valora's Dodgers jersey and pointing out the Rangers won the World Series and Valora responding with a middle finger, to which Murdoch laughs a bit. Steve Murdoch, nah. Rob Riot can handle that, I think. Valora, funny, pendejo. Pick a car, I'll put your fucking head through one of the windows. Steve Murdoch, you're too kind. Ben Price, and Valora comes into the ring to get ready for this fight. They've already started the words portion and once more we see neither fighter is backing down from or intimidated by the other. Eddie Vega, nice bike. Somehow I kinda figured Val would be a biker girl. Now, obviously, I find it hard to bet against a woman who was undefeated in CWF overall but has dominated the elite title division since becoming the first ever elite champion. And she's been a fighting champion, willing to defend her belt frequently, pretty much every singles match she's in. I don't agree with that, but it is impressive. Eric Acosta Alvarez calls for the fight to begin and Murdoch wastes no time punching Valora right in the face with such force he knocks the bubblegum she had in her mouth clear out of the mouth and the gum sticks on the windshield of one of the cars. Valora, meanwhile, is knocked to a knee by the blow and spits blood from her mouth and wipes some from her nose as well, and Steve Murdoch grabs her and bounces her face off the hood of a BMW before picking her up and dumping her back first on the same car, slamming his elbow into Valora's chest 3 times and grabbing her and pulling her off, rolling her off the car's hood, dropping her face first onto the concrete. Ben Price, Steve Murdoch wastes no time. I've seen it in movies and such, but I've never seen someone literally get hit so hard they've had something knocked out of their mouth before. And then Steve uses the car as a weapon and Valora has started the match she wanted off on the back foot. Eddie Vega, I think this is a good tactic. You have to beat Valora before she beats you. I think attacking her and keeping her under pressure is the best way to beat her, but that is, of course, easier said than done. Valora gets up to her hands and knees and Steve Murdoch kicks her in the ribs and follows that up with another kick before Valora catches it, rolls onto her back and shoves her foot into Murdoch's groin, doubling the man over. Valora gets up to her feet, running up onto the hood of the car and jumps off and plants Murdoch with a tornado DDT onto the concrete, both fighters laying on the concrete as Eric Acosta Alvarez begins counting. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 1, 2, 3. Ben Price, and like you said, Eddie. Easier said than done as Valora counters with a brutal kick to the groin and a tornado DDT. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 4, 5, 6. Eddie Vega, Erica is counting, we could get a double count out. What happens then? Ben Price, I would assume Valora keeps the title, champion's advantage, and all, and Steve Murdoch would have one hell of a case to demand a rematch. The fans in the cars honk their horns in approval of the fight so far as both Valora and Steve Murdoch struggle to their feet, both getting up at the count of 8. Eric Acosta Alvarez checks both fighters and declares them to be able to continue and restarts the fight. As the fight restarts, both fighters circle around each other, slowing the pace down, both having survived the opening barrages of the other. Valora ducks under a punch from Murdoch and hits him in the kidney and then comes out with a right cross. Steve Murdoch counters with a boot to the gut. He grabs Valora and braces himself before picking Valora up with a pump handle move and turns slams her onto the hood of a car, before following Valora onto the hood of the car and grabs Valora as she rides on the hood and lifts her up into a vertical suplex and brings her down onto the roof of the car and the windshield, Valora grunting in pain as she hits and rides on the windshield, bringing honks of approval from the cars as they enjoy the fight. As Steve Murdoch pulls Valora to her feet, she counters with a punch to the kidney, a left punch to the throat, and then a boot to the gut and plants him with a DDT on the hood, bringing more honks from the fans in cars. Ben Price, these two continue to use the gathered cars as weapons to brutalize each other, and boy, you have to wonder, both of these fighters are at or near the age of 40 and it has, apparently, been some time since Valora has been in a full-on hardcore style match like she's in right now. Eddie Vega, I'd also be wondering about the dents on that car right now, Benny boy. Just think, if they're hitting hard enough to make those dents. The human material hitting them is going to be hurt too. Steve Murdoch rolls off the hood of the car and drops to a knee, Valora following him. Her attempts to follow up the offense are cut off when Murdoch punches her in the gut and grabs her, shoving her face first into the driver's side car window. He tries to punch Valora, but she ducks and Steve Murdoch punches the driver's side window, then grabs him and turns him in a circle before throwing him head first into the driver's side window, which shatters and gives the people inside the car a surprise. Valora kicks Steve Murdoch in the back twice and then jumps into the air and hits a dropkick, shoving him into the car he's near, but also launching her into the side of the car on her side as well. Valora gets to her feet and stumbles into the middle of the ring and points at Steve Murdoch while shouting at Eric Acosta Alvarez. Valora Salinas, fucking check his ass. Erica walks over and checks. Steve Murdoch is bleeding from a cut on his forehead and Erica begins counting. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 1, 2, 3. Ben Price, my God. Valora threw Steve Murdoch face first through a window. This match is already starting to ramp up the violence. Eddie Vega, Benny Boy, you've wondered why people like Greg Salazar and others have been nervous about trusting Valora. This is one reason. This is a woman who has no compunction about ratcheting up the violence. When she means the ends justify the means, she fucking means it. That being said, Steve Murdoch is also showing us something here. Both fighters putting forward a case as to why they call themselves the hardcore icon. Personally, I'm ready to let both people use the title. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 4, 5, 6. Ben Price, Erica is up to a 6 count now and Steve Murdoch is struggling to his feet. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 7, 8. Steve Murdoch gets to his feet finally and wipes some blood from his forehead. He then charges at Valora, who responds with an arm drag, bringing Steve Murdoch to the concrete floor. Valora then takes a mounted position and begins raining punches down on him. Steve Murdoch takes several shots right in the face but is able to fight back a bit and then grabs Valora behind the head and headbutts Valora, the two fighting up to their feet trading punches. Steve Murdoch whips Valora into one of the cars, Valora grunting as she slumps into a sitting position, leaning against the front of the car, and Murdoch charges, hitting Valora in the head with a vicious knee shot, knocking her head back into the front grille of the car. Steve Murdoch turns to the ref. Steve Murdoch, count her. Eric Acosta Alvarez moves over and checks Valora and begins counting. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 1, 2, 3. Ben Price, another brutal exchange there and Steve Murdoch comes out on top for the moment and the pendulum continues to swing back and forth. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 4, 5, 6. Eddie Vega, Valora actually looks stunned here. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 7, 8. Valora pulls herself up to her feet and Steve Murdoch grabs her immediately and bounces her head off the hood of the car 3 more times before picking her up and chokeslamming Valora onto the hood. Steve Murdoch climbs onto the hood after her and pulls her to her feet, hitting her with a clubbing blow and then picks her up and powerbombs her onto the hood once. Then keeps a hold of her and lifts her up a second time and powerbombs her onto the hood a second time, maintaining the hold. He roars out as he lifts her up a third time and powerbombs Valora into the windshield, which finally gives way and a massive crack forms as the windshield breaks but does not shatter. Steve Murdoch sits on the hood of the car and nods, letting out a breath as he glances at Eric Acosta Alvarez, who rushes to check on Valora and begins counting. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 1, 2, 3. Ben Price, Jesus Christ. Steve Murdoch just powerbombed Valora through the windshield. She and the fans inside the car were lucky the windshield didn't completely shatter. Eddie Vega, those fans just got a lot closer to the match than they were expecting. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 4, 5, 6. Ben Price, Valora seems to be moving but it's still an open question as to whether she is fully conscious or even knows where she is. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 7, 8, 9. Valora finally gets her bearings and the door opens and Valora lands in a bloody heap on the ground, struggling to her feet and shaking her head. Eric Acosta Alvarez rules Valora on her feet and restarts the fight. Steve Murdoch walks over to Valora and grabs her arms, locking them as he pulls her closer and then hits her repeatedly in her chest with multiple trap-style headbutts. He finishes this with a suplex, lifting Valora up and throwing her onto the hood. Valora landing hard with a groan and rolling off onto the concrete ground. Ben Price, Steve Murdoch has really put up a strong showing here tonight. I mean, he has a legitimate chance to win this fight. Eddie Vega, he already won, Benny Boy. He got his head between those massive breasts Valora sports. Ben Price, Rob Riot is almost certainly watching this match and listening to your commentary. Eddie Vega, and the son of a bitch doesn't know how lucky he is. Steve Murdoch makes his way over to Valora and helps her up, measuring her and punching her, sending Valora staggering back as he comes up behind her and slams her face first into the hood of a car and leads her over to the car's passenger side window and returns the favor, slamming her face first through the window. Valora mule kicks Steve Murdoch in the groin, bringing him to a knee. Valora reaches into the car and removes something from the purse of the woman inside. As Steve Murdoch pulls her out to continue the attack, Valora counters by spraying him in the face with the mace she holds in her hand. Steve Murdoch stumbles around crying out as he tries to clear the mace from his eyes. Then Price, and the brutality continues. Valora goes face first through a window and retaliates by taking mace from the fan inside and spraying Steve Murdoch in the face with it. Eddie Vega, win at any cost. It isn't illegal. Valora leads Steve over to the hood of what might the last untouched car and decides to bring them in on the fun by slamming Murdoch face first onto the hood of the car. She leads him onto the hood of the car and plants him face first on the windshield with a reverse STO, immediately transitioning into her version of the Koji clutch. Then Price, Aztec clutch. Aztec clutch on the hood of a car. Eddie Vega, Steve Murdoch might be in serious trouble. Valora tightens the hold, the blood on Murdoch's face oozing out even more from the force of the hold. Eric Acosta Alvarez checks, asking Steve Murdoch if he wants to give up. Then Price, referee Eric Acosta Alvarez is checking to see if he wants to give up. The stipulation match might be answering a 10 count, but a fighter can always choose to give up. Eddie Vega, well, the tough SOB so far is refusing to give up. On the hood of the car, Valora cinches the hold in even more and Erica continues to check. Steve struggles and tries to escape, but his movements begin to slow and finally, he stops moving. Eric Acosta Alvarez checks in closer and begins the count. Eric Acosta Alvarez, 1, 2, 3. Then Price, Steve Murdoch has stopped moving. While she could end the fight immediately, Eric Acosta Alvarez is holding to the 10 count to hopefully wake Sebe up and let him get back into the match. Is it 4, 5, 6? Eddie Vega, he's not moving and the blood is oozing from that cut even more since the hold was applied. ECA, 7, 8, 9. Then Price, she should stop the damn match now. Eddie Vega, and if she doesn't, Steve Murdoch complains he didn't get his 10 count? Eric Acosta Alvarez, 10. Break the hold, Salinas, break the hold. He's out. Valora looks at Eric Acosta Alvarez and complies, breaking the hold and tumbles off the hood onto the concrete floor with a grunt as she tries to disentangle herself from Murdoch. A couple cars back up to break the ring and Daniel Corgan and CWF Medical come in and begin tending to both fighters. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, and still CWF Elite Champion. Valora Salinas. Then Price, Aztec clutch comes through one more time and Valora chokes out Steve Murdoch to get the win. Eddie Vega, this was a great, old-school hardcore match between two experts in the craft. Eric Acosta Alvarez makes her way over to Valora, helping her to her feet and she raises Valora's hand. Valora stumbles over to Murdoch's prone body and nods, patting him on the shoulder. Valora Salinas, respect. She stumbles off and falls flat on her face as the injuries and brutality of the match catch up with her. Then Price, a rare show of respect from the champ, and I'm not surprised she too needs medical attention, I'm surprised she can walk. Eddie Vega, yeah, these two fighters were bounced off of, into, and slammed on cars. Cars made of metal people. Steve Murdoch and Valora Salinas will likely feel this match for some time. Lonely fans. Will touch you in the same place a real girl would. In your wallet. We come back from the commercial break, with Blaze McClancy standing in the ring. He's got a microphone and apparently came out during the break. Straight Out of Line by Godsmack is fading out as we come back. The camera pans as he points upward to the single X0N Trios title belt hanging over the ring. It then cuts to the announcer's table, where the other two belts have been placed in front of the table. Then Price, welcome back, as you can see our commissioner came out during the break. He's also in charge of the IK0N Trios division, so more than likely he's about to give us a bit of an update on the next match. Eddie Vega, and our next match is the finals of the X0N Trios title tournament, which had a small snag on Vanguard. Then Price, the bastards attacked the new stable of Bad Company. They tried to disrupt the semifinals. And thus, resulted in this change of the finals. Eddie Vega, let's let the man talk then. Blaze McClancy, you know. I get a lot of shit tossed at me. I am the commissioner of the CWF, making sure day-to-day operations happen and take place, and reporting back to the courts on the ongoing legal issues. Contrary to popular belief, I do not outrank the president or CEO positions. We have a president, Armand von Kraus. Only the CEO, which is in question, or the board of directors, also in question, can question him. That is how business entities work, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be honest, I don't like Armand von Kraus for more reasons than you could know. But, unless the court tells me that I have to step in on an issue and they give me permission to override him, I can't. And if I had the same authority level he does, we'd be fighting back there as much as we would be making the CWF function. He stops and hesitates as the crowd boos. Blasey McClancy, however, there is something I do control to the full extent of my position. I was told by the board of X0N Wrestling Entertainment that I was the full-blown director of the Trios division in X0N, and my word was law when it comes down to that division, how it's run and what happens. And leave it to the CWF entities to test me right off the bat. Ben Price, well, nice to see there is one thing that he can lay the law down upon. Eddie Vega, maybe, we'll see. Blaze McClancy, last Vanguard, the bastards try to attack Bad Company, and I don't know why. It was to be the start of the match between Bad Company and the Upstarts. Now this would have got the Upstarts potentially disqualified, and of course possibly hurt Bad Company. Or, the bastards could have moved on and tried to then attack the Upstarts. Or, well, they might not be putting a lot of weight on the Upstarts and were hoping to hurt Bad Company and give the Upstarts an easy win. I don't know. I don't care. They stepped on my toes, and in this match I have the full authority and a board that backs my decision. Ben Price, preach. Blaze McClancy, so you're about to see 3 teams come out here to VY for the titles currently suspended over the ring. It was originally going to be a ladder match. Some know, one of my favorite types of match. But with a 3rd team added, we're going to be doing a bit of a mix-up. Yes, I am changing this a bit. It's going to start as an elimination match. First team is out by a pinfall or submission. Then it'll be to get a ladder and get the 1 title belt hanging up there, for the 2 teams that remain. But, hey, let's do this. The eliminated team will be allowed to stay at ringside and be what the old school guys used to call lumberjacks for the rest of the match. How does that sound? The crowd lights up, of course. Eddie Vega, wait, how fair can that be? If the bastards eliminate the Upstarts or Bad Company, then they can stay at ringside and act as lumberjacks. Ben Price, you're putting too much on the bastards. They can also do that if they're eliminated first. Eddie Vega, you don't get it, do you? Those trios titles are already theirs, just waiting to be claimed. The Upstarts are a bunch of little brats who think because they're born to wrestlers they know the business better than people who have been actually wrestling for years. They're going out first. Ben Price, if you say so. Blaze McClancy, and I'm treating all 3 teams the same here. In fact, I'm already in negotiations to host the winning team to defend against the runner-up team on a future show. I have AWS, Corey, and CWF all negotiating for it already. So let's get this party started. Bring out the teams. Blaze climbs out of the ring and hands the microphone to Eric Wilson. As he does, Blaze walks over to the announcer's table and picks up a headset. Eric Wilson, ladies and gentlemen, the next matchup is the finals in the X0N Wrestling Entertainment Trios Championship Tournament. Introducing first, coming in at a combined weight of 643 lbs. They hail from the island of Puerto Rico, the prefecture of Okinawa, Japan, and Swansea, Wales. The sound of the crowd goes up significantly. Eric Wilson, they are the Dreadnought Miguel Lanza Jr., the Princess Oni Testual Oni 4, and the AWS Legacy Champion, Abigail Dresden. Together they are known as the Upstarts. The reckoning by Within Temptation starts to play as the members of the Upstarts start to walk out. This time Abby Dresden takes the middle. She unstraps her legacy title and holds it up as the smaller Testual Oni 4 comes out on her left, and Miguel Lanza takes her right. Ben Price, and, by virtue of making it to the finals, the best trios and thus maybe the hottest stable in the Asylum Wrestling Society right now. 3 second-generation wrestlers heading to that ring right now who have huge shoes to fill, and so far they're filling them. And might add, Abigail Dresden has claimed her first wrestling championship with being the inaugural AWS Legacy Champion. Eddie Vega, little snitch, is a traitor to the CWF. We gave her her first chance here. Blaze McClancy, that's a little harsh. We have an open talent sharing policy with the other X0N federations. Are you going to say the same about Eddie Williams? Who on Vanguard had the AWS television title, but since then he's added the Corey World title to that mix as well? Eddie Vega, well. Eddie is the man, you know. Ben Price, well, apparently AWS is paying her well, and she's already secured a championship belt, and she didn't almost get killed to get it. Blaze McClancy, no, but she did wrestle 3 matches in one night for a tournament. A testament to her fortitude. Eddie Vega, still a little traitor far as I'm concerned. Ben Price, you're trying to renegotiate your contract, aren't you? Trying to get some more money out of Armand von Kraus? Eddie Vega, what? No. Ben Price, hey, I ended up with 15%. Eddie Vega, what? Blaze McClancy, hey, let's talk about the match, not your paychecks. That's between you and talent relations. The upstarts enter the ring and take their spot in the middle. This time, both ladies take a knee and point up to the middle as Miguel Lanza does a flex. Eddie Vega, okay, that kid is huge. Ben Price, that's one thing the upstarts have going for them here. They have a good spread of abilities and talents in the ring. Dresden is a striker, Lanza a huge powerhouse, and Oni, while unlike past Tetsuo Onis, is a big-time flyer using her smaller size and speed to her advantage. Eddie Vega, I heard a rumor that her gear was stolen, and it's actually your old gear, Mr. McClancy. Blaze McClancy, and like your paychecks, that is something between her and the Four Winds Wrestling Academy. As the upstarts get ready, handing anything out of the ring to the attendants, Eric Wilson continues. Eric Wilson, and the next team, coming in at a combined 685 pounds. They all hail from the United Kingdom. The crowd starts with their mixed reaction, but they're even louder than before. Eric Wilson, they are the Riot star Rob Riot, the Sultan of Skolong style Frank F.N. Windsor, and the AWS television champion, and Corey World champion the future Eddie Williams. They are the Bastards. Take It Easy Chicken by Munson starts to play throughout the Arians PA system. The 3 Bastards step out onto the stage and play up to the crowd for a bit. Eddie Vega, the team these titles were made for. Yeah, baby, just hand them over right now. Blaze McClancy, they have to beat the upstarts and Bad Company first. Eddie Vega, did you see how they dismantled the Carnival? Blaze McClancy, yes, I did. Did you see how Bad Company dismantled the House of the Rising Sun? Did you see the upstarts beat Team Viper? Every team in this match has a chance to win. Especially when the ladders come out. They start to make their way down to the ring, Eddie Williams holding up the AWS TV title while wearing the Corey World Championship around his waist. Ben Price, the Bastards are hungry for their first trios title run though. We can't deny that. Blaze McClancy, oh, every team tonight has a reason to want these. The Bastards think it's divine providence. Bad Company I think just wants to keep the Bastards from more titles, and the upstarts are trying to prove themselves to be just as deserving of being in that ring, and being considered champions, or at least contenders, as any other team. Ben Price, any favorite to win, Mr. McClancy? Eddie Vega, he's a Bastards fanboy like me. Blaze McClancy, I want the best team to win, and with no shenanigans other than the ones I've put into motion. Eddie Vega, so you admit the lumberjack thing is to penalize the Bastards? Blaze McClancy, it was something I decided. That's it. It's only against the Bastards if they're not eliminated first. They claim they're professionals, they can adapt. Then again, if they get eliminated in the first part, they can play kingmaker between the other 2 teams. In which case do they choose the team that took all of Riot's accolades from him, or the team that keeps calling them out left and right? Eddie Vega, and if one of the other teams are eliminated first? Blaze McClancy, well then I'd suggest none of the Bastards get tossed out of the ring. Ben Price, well that's pretty easy. Eric Wilson, and finally, they are the newest stable to form in the CWF. Coming in at a combined weight of 715 pounds. They are composed of the CWF Tag Team Champions, and the CWF Conquest Champion. They are the Paragon Gregory Michael Salazar, Kara Reinhardt, and Cronin Reinhardt. Bad Company. The 5-finger death punch version of Bad Company starts to play throughout the arena's PA system. Greg Salazar comes out first, sporting a black leather jacket, with Bad Company on the back. Kara Reinhardt comes out next, holding up her CWF Tag Team Championship and sporting a matching jacket. Blaze McClancy, wardrobe updates. Cronin Reinhardt steps out between them, wearing a matching jacket, and he holds up both the CWF Tag Team Championship belt, as well as the Conquest Championship. The noise only gets louder from the crowd, who actually start to sing along with the song. Each member gives each other a high five, and then starts to head down to the ring. Ben Price, one has to wonder what this means for the future Shock Society. Eddie Vega, while they've always been second-rate anyway. Blaze McClancy, Season 2, they were the only title holders in the Fed. So not second-rate at all. However, I'll be the first to confirm. After Urban Warfare, Ravenna Yeager opted to not renew her contract or exercise an extension. So, the future Shock Society, I'm told, is no more. Ben Price didn't want to renew? Why? Blaze McClancy, that's between her and Talent Relations. Contract is a contract. If she decides to come back, I'm sure we can use your possible pay raise, Eddie. Eddie Vega, hey? Why? I'm the voice of this company. Blasey McClancy, she's made more money for the Fed than you have. Merch sales count, man. The Future Shock Society shirt was a top seller. Ben Price, one has to wonder what type of impact this will be in the CWF and X0N as a whole. The CWF Conquest Champion, a former Conquest Champion, and the CWF Tag Team Champions in one stable. Blaze McClancy, it was quite the strategic move. As much as Rob Riott would argue, they outmaneuvered him and outthought him, and outsmarted him at Urban Warfare. They played the bastards game and won. Eddie Vega, they cheated, advancing timers, buttons that didn't work. Blaze McClancy, keep up the conspiracies. Do you believe in a flat earth as well, Eddie? Ben Price, I for one am enjoying all of the gold in this ring right now. We have the AWS Legacy Championship, the Corey World title, the AWS TV title, the CWF Tag Team titles, and the CWF Conquest Championship all represented. Blaze McClancy, yes, by far a sampling of the best in every Fed. And if you really want to get to it, Frank Windsor is the #1 contender by virtue of his Valor title prize to the Conquest Championship, and Rob Riott has a very good chance of becoming the X0N Triple Crown Champion at the Champions Carnival. Eddie Vega and Eddie Williams will be the next Apex Champion for whichever Fed that is. Blaze McClancy, AWS, it's their world title equivalent. So Eddie Williams for next Warzone could be a double world champion. And at Champions Carnival he may take the X0N Underground Championship. And if you want to go into perspectives, the Corey Vixens tourney has its finalists both in that ring, in the same stable, Testual Oni and Abby Dresden. And they both have title shots coming up for the UK and C4 championships. A lot of championships and potential championships in that ring right now. CWF referee Scott Jones calls for each team to join him in the ring. And he explains the matchup. Blaze McClancy, so you all at home can hear it, this is a triple threat match. So one member from each team can be in the ring at a time. First fall will be to eliminate one team. After that, it will go to a ladder match, with the first team to get the belts down will claim the titles. Ben Price, looks like Kara Reinhardt, Miguel Lanza, and Frank Windsor will be starting for their teams. Eddie Vega, come on Frank. The three starters get ready in the ring. Kara Reinhardt and Miguel Lanza actually shake hands before the match starts. Miguel offers to shake hands with Windsor, but he's denied. Ding! Ding! As soon as the bell rings, Lanza pulls back the hand he offered, and punches Windsor right in the face. Scott Jones immediately gives him a warning. Windsor turns away with the punch, and meets a European uppercut by Kara Reinhardt. Windsor stumbles backwards a bit. He gets spun around and gets another punch from Lanza, followed by another uppercut from German MMA fighter Ben Prince. Windsor getting a double pounding out there to start things off. Eddie Vega, that just sounds so wrong. Lanza tries to lift Windsor up for a high-angle spinebuster, but Windsor locks his legs around the larger man's shoulder and head, and tries to twist it into a submission, an armbar of some sort, taking Lanza down to the mat. Kara Reinhardt drops a knee across the side of Windsor's neck before he can get the move locked in. Lanza rolls out of the way while Kara goes on the attack. She delivers a couple of hammer strikes to Windsor around his head. He eventually rolls out of the way and scrambles to his feet. As Kara Reinhardt is getting up to follow, he powers into a short-distance spear. He comes up and turns around to this time get caught by a high-angle pickup into a slamming spinebuster by Miguel Lanza. Then Price, and a recoup by the big man from Puerto Rico. Eddie Vega, between him and Cronin, what's going to happen when they meet? Kara Reinhardt comes to her feet and gets into position. Frank Windsor starts to come up to his feet, as Miguel Lanza moves in to grab his hair and try to keep control. Windsor grabs Lanza's trunks and pulls him into a shoulder block. He then grabs Lanza's arm and whips him into Kara Reinhardt. Eddie Vega, yeah, Frank FN Windsor outsmarting them. Blaze McClancy, good tactic, give it to him. Windsor then dives to his corner, getting a clean tag on Rob Riot, who comes into the ring quickly and starts to fire off uppercuts to both Kara and Lanza, his own one-man version of what they did to Windsor earlier. Riot ends up kicking Lanza in the midsection and then hitting a hammerlock DDT on him. As he's coming up, Kara Reinhardt tries to grab him for a sleeper hold, but Riot drops it down into a reverse jawbreaker that pops her up into the air and back to the mat. Then Price, Riot coming in ready to go. Blaze McClancy, Riot is the former Conquest champion. You can't take anything away from anyone up on that apron or in the ring. Riot quickly catches up to Kara Reinhardt as she's heading for her corner. He grabs her into a Cobra Clutch type sleeper and steps it over, letting her feet and legs be on the mat while holding her head up. He glares at Bad Company's corner for a moment. Eddie Vega, that's it, just hold on to that and stare them down for what they did to you. Make her either tap out or. Then Price, Eddie, come on, man. Miguel Lanza gets to his knees, then his feet, and he dives into the upstart's corner, tagging in Abigail Dresden. Dresden pulls on the ropes and slingshots in, and takes a run right for the man who might be her father. She jumps up and hits him with a knee to the back of his head, causing him to release Kara Reinhardt. She then scoots in and hooks him for a classic-style DDT. She immediately floats over and starts to pull Riot up to his feet. Then Price and Abigail Dresden starting off with a big impact on Rob Riot. Dresden goes around Riot and locks on a waistlock. She tries to lift him up for a German suplex, but he blocks it. She tries again, but he blocks it again, rolls forward taking them both over, and then tries to lock on his locking clamp, heel hook submission. Kara Reinhardt gets to her feet, kicking Riot in the back of the head with a nasty-looking cutting kick, and then runs to her corner. She tags in Greg Salazar, who immediately rushes into the ring and starts to stomp down onto Riot's thigh, causing him to release the hold on Dresden. Then Price, and a save there. Eddie Vega, the bastards are fighting a war on two fronts here. Just ask the Reinhardt's country how that worked out for them. Blaze McClancy, that was 80 years ago. What the hell is with everyone always going to the Germany of World War II for anything German, and you do realize that they could have just not tried to mess up the other semi-final match, huh? If they would have just let the upstarts and Bad Company wrestle each other, they'd be in a single ladder match right now against one of the teams, instead of both. Then Price, he has a point, Eddie. Eddie Vega, shut up. Dresden gets up quickly, favoring that leg a bit, and goes for a walk around the ring. Salazar pulls Riot up and tries to lock him into a full Nelson. He lifts Riot up, but Riot kicks off the ropes with his feet, causing them to both fall backwards. Dresden appears to have circulation back and she quickly runs to the ropes that Riot kicked off of and lands a springboard moonsault onto both Riot and Salazar. Then Price, go for it, Abby. Eddie Vega, you rooting for a traitor who comes in here representing the other side? Blaze McClancy, Eddie, reminder. I now work for X0N as well. Eddie Vega, not you, of course. You've not completely sold us out. Dresden pulls Riot up to his feet, she then whips him hard to her corner and comes running in. Miguel Lanaza and Tetsuo Oni4 both grab onto him as Dresden comes in with a huge running forearm. She then starts to deliver a series of punches. Scott Jones starts the count for punches in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dresden stops the punches and circles back. She quickly grabs Riot and pulls him into a small package. Scott Jones is right there for the count. 1, 2. Riot kicks out before the third count even starts. Then Price, Abigail Dresden pulling off a surprise small package and almost eliminated the bastards there. Eddie Vega, solid 2 count on a surprise. But not even close. Blaze McClancy, I have to agree. Riot gets to his feet and grabs Dresden by the hair. He pulls her up and then whips her to the ropes. He goes to the opposite side and catches her with a high leg clothesline. Riot gets up quickly and then starts to run again, making sure he doesn't go near the other corners. He drops into a running senton onto Dresden and tries to hook her leg for a pin attempt. 1. Greg Salazar walks over and pulls Riot up and sends him to the ropes. He then catches Riot as he comes off with a pop-up. He finishes spinning around with a back elbow to the chin. Salazar whips Riot into the Bad Company corner. Abby Dresden quickly moves and gets to her corner, tagging in Testual Oni 4. Then Price and Testual Oni IV comes into the ring. Eddie Vega, she's kinda tiny. I think she's the smallest in the matchup. Ben Price, yes, but that means that now we have 2 Testual Onis in the ring, with Greg Salazar having been the third Tetsuo Oni. Riot kicks Salazar to his midsection and starts to hook him up for a fisherman's suplex. Oni runs in and hits him with a super kick that she bends down to touch the mat with her elbow, adding to the leg extension on the kick. Riot falls backwards with the strike, actually doing to the mat. Then Price, damn, that was a super kick. Blaze McClancy, no, a super duper kick. Salazar comes up and sees his successor in the ring. He grins and nods, then extends his hand to her. She gladly takes it and shakes before Frank Windsor and Eddie Williams both rush in and jump them both. They start throwing fists and knees at the 2 Tetsuo Onis. Then Price, get them out of their ref. Scott Jones starts a 5 count for the illegal members in the ring. But they keep it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Both of the other bastards break off their attack and head back to the corner. Riot appears to have recovered. He grabs the smaller Tetsuo Oni 4 and whips her to the ropes. He tries for another high leg clothesline like he'd used on her teammate, but she bends backwards, matrix dodging the move, slipping right under it. Riot lands hard, not expecting no resistance. Then Price, now that's some flexibility. Eddie Vega, yeah, I'm sure she could make someone. Blaze McClancy, back to the match, boys. Not sleazy fantasies. Tetsuo Oni 4 and Riot both get up at the same time, and she rocks him with a spinning back fist. Then Price, Iron Fist. Eddie Vega, well, she just needs to be able to do a scorpion kick and she's got their move set down. Riot stumbles with the surprise of the one some have taken to calling Chibi Oni S-strike. He stumbles a couple of steps before he gets another spinning back fist, this one from Greg Salazar. Eddie Vega, come on, are both teams trying to keep the bastards down? Are they working together? Blaze McClancy, oh no, possibly consequences for their actions on Vanguard? Who would have thought? Eddie Vega, that's pretty mean. Blaze McClancy, if you say so. I'm personally a firm believer in karma. And she's a bitch. And she likes to prove it. Frank Windsor against runs into the ring. This time he clips Greg Salazar and then kicks Tetsuo Oni 4 in the midsection, before he grabs Riot and tosses him towards his own corner. Eddie Williams reaches down and slaps Riot while he's in the corner. Jones signals the tag is good. Windsor starts to fight with Salazar until Oni mixes in. Williams rushes over and catches Tetsuo Oni 4 with a thess press. As Scott Jones warns Windsor and starts to count, he kicks Salazar in the midsection and pulls him into a package piledriver setup. He drops down and then rolls out of the ring before Jones can carry out his warning. Then Price, I'm surprised the other teams have resorted to bastard double team tactics. Eddie Vega, hey, they're not breaking any rules. Blaze McClancy, you're not wrong. Williams pulls Oni to her feet and then whips her to the ropes. He catches her with a release overhead belly to belly suplex that sends her across the ring. She lands in the bastard's corner. Riot climbs through the ropes, drops down and grabs Oni by the foot and pulls her to the outside. Then Price, and Testual Oni is not where she wants to be. Both Abby Dresden and Miguel Lanza drop down out of their corner and rush around to the other side. Windsor tries to intercept Dresden, but she ducks under his jump off the apron, baseball sliding under him. Windsor lands, but then gets a huge clothesline from the 325 pounds Puerto Rican. Dresden comes up and runs up the ring steps, and then jumps into a head scissors takedown onto Riot. She scrambles quickly to check on Oni and help her up so they can run across to the other side. Then Price and the Upstarts rescue their lone member who was in enemy territory. In the ring, Williams has Salazar hooked for a suplex. He pulls him up and then drops down into a brainbuster. He goes for a pinfall. 1, 2. Kara Reinhardt scrambles in and dropkicks Williams. She then grabs Salazar and helps him over to the corner before the referee can get involved. Salazar gets his shoulder slapped by Cronin Reinhardt, who then comes in over the top rope. Blasey McClancy, and now we get two world champions in the ring at the same time. Ben Price, holy, hadn't thought about that. Williams sees Reinhardt coming and he hits the ropes and springboards backwards into a crossbody. He manages to take the Conquest champion over to his back. He tries for a pin, but Reinhardt tosses him off without even a single count. Williams grabs Reinhardt's hair and helps him to his feet. As soon as he does, Reinhardt swipes his hand away and pulls him in for a belly-to-belly suplex. Reinhardt holds onto the front waistlock. Ben Price, and now we're going to see the Conquest champion in action. Reinhardt pulls Williams up, lifts, and spins, tossing him in an overhead belly-to-belly, but doesn't launch him too far. Over in the Upstarts corner, Oni has rolled back into the ring. She took a moment to rest in Tay corner, but reaches up and high-fives Miguel Lanza, who gladly comes in. Eddie Vega, Eddie, be careful. Here comes someone bigger than Cronin. Williams comes up to his feet as Cronin is. He sees Lanza coming in and he looks to his corner. He tries to scramble over, but Lanza moves to cut him off. Quickly Cronin comes in and grabs Williams in a rear waist lock. He lifts up and Williams blocks it by grabbing onto the top rope. Lanza comes in and hits a double axe handle on Williams' back. This causes Reinhardt to drop him. Ben Price, and the two giants in his match meet. For a moment, the 6 feet 8 inches Cronin Reinhardt looks over the even bigger Miguel Lanza. Lanza looks him over, as if they were sizing each other up. Williams takes the break, and does a roll into his corner and tags in Frank Windsor. Eddie Vega, here you go, Reinhardt, this is the guy who has your number. Windsor pulls back on the ropes, and slingshots himself in for a huge Yorkshire Love slingshot lariat that catches Lanza from behind. He then takes it to Reinhardt with a European uppercut, followed by another and then another. Windsor then scoops Reinhardt up, but only takes the bigger man horizontal to his chest, and drops him down into a backbreaker. As he drops Reinhardt down, Miguel Lanza hooks Windsor's arm over his head, and takes him up and over into a very high Saito suplex. Ben Price, and Windsor gets the Conquest champion, but might have underestimated the rookie giant in the ring. Eddie Vega was a calculated risk on his part. Do more damage to the real threat of Cronin Reinhardt. Ben Price, are you saying Miguel Lanza is not a threat? Eddie Vega, he's got less pro matches in his game than I have fingers on one hand. And yes, I know that the thumb isn't a finger. Reinhardt gets up to his feet to see Lanza pulls Windsor into a powerbomb setup. Lanza lifts Windsor up over his back and then lifts him up high for a crucifix setup. Blaze McClancy and Jr. about to deliver his father's finisher on Frank Windsor. Both Riot and Williams break into the ring. Riot goes after Reinhardt while Williams chop blocks Lanza, causing him to drop down and release Windsor. Windsor and Williams then both hit the ropes and nail Lanza with a dual running knees. Eddie Vega, that's it. The three bastards then all move on Reinhardt. Williams goes low, while Riot pushes him backwards. As he tumbles, Windsor grabs him into an assisted German suplex. Windsor tries to bridge the hold for a pinfall, but Salazar comes in and drops into a baseball slide drop kick that hits Windsor in the face under the bridge. Ben Price, and things starting to break down. Who are legal? Blaze McClancy, Williams, Lanza, and Reinhardt are. Scott Jones starts to count, yelling out a warning for everyone. Windsor and Riot both roll out of the ring. Salazar helps Reinhardt up and then the both dive for the corner, with Salazar rolling out. Cronin tags in Kara. Ben Price, and the Conquest champion tags out. Kara Reinhardt comes into the ring and hits him with a spear. She follows up with a headbutt while on top of him from the landing. She quickly moves into an attempt at a mounted triangle choke submission. Scott Jones is there to immediately check on Williams. Then Price, and if the Corey World Champion taps out, will Kara get a shot in Corey at his title? Blaze McClancy, that's up to the directors of Corey. It would make the bastards lumberjacks for the rest of the match, though. Windsor climbs into the ring, grabs Kara by the hair and snaps her back down to the mat hard, then exits before he can even get a warning from the referee. Williams comes up, and then pulls Kara up by her hair. He whips her into the bastard's corner and then comes running in with a diving clothesline. He pulls her out of the corner, and then into a powerbomb setup. As he lifts her up, she delivers a hard palm strike to his nose. Williams lets her go, and Kara drops down to one knee on the recovery. Then Price, what a counter! Blaze McClancy, impressive. Eddie Vega, she's already hurt a wrestler, twice, are we sure she would be in the ring? Blaze McClancy, you wanna go ask her that question? Eddie Vega, no. Kara Reinhardt delivers a series of strikes to Williams' chest as she comes up to her feet, staggering him back. She then reaches down and powers him up over her head. Then Price, Kara Reinhardt showing her power here. Blaze McClancy, she's actually got Williams by an inch or two in height and they could be about the same weight, based on time of day. Eddie Vega, my god, anyone with who wants a mommy dom, just call Kara Reinhardt. Then Price and Blaze McClancy, what? Kara Reinhardt holds Williams up and gets ready for her Gegenpress slam, but she's taken just about out of her boots by a huge torpedoes away spear from Miguel Lanza. Williams falls backwards and lands near his corner. He just puts a hand up and Rob Riot tags him in, but both he and Windsor enter the ring. Then Price and the bastards get a tag. Eddie Vega, I know one damn thing, I'd not want to be on the receiving end of one of those spears from that big. Where is Lanza from? Blaze McClancy, he's from Puerto Rico. They call themselves Boricuas. Eddie Vega, yeah, how tall is he? Blaze McClancy, 6'10". Eddie Vega, how old? Then Price, you trying to find him on some hookup app or something? Eddie Vega, no. Windsor really quickly runs in and grabs Lanza, pulling him up and tossing him through the ropes, following closely behind him. Then Price, what's Frank Windsor doing? He's not a legal man? Blaze McClancy, tactics. He's got a 5 count. But he already exited the ring. Riot pulls Kara Reinhardt up and pulls her up onto his shoulders into an Argentine backbreaker. Both Cronin Reinhardt and Greg Salazar are shown reaching into the ring, desperate for a tag. Riot finishes with the Riot Rack, dropping down to just about snap Kara in half. He moves to pin. Eddie Vega, Riot Rack. Riot looks to be going for a pinfall, but he stops just as Tetsuo Oni4 comes off the top rope with a double knee drop. But she misses Riot and hits Kara Reinhardt instead. Riot then grabs the rookie Oni and tosses her out of the ring as well. Then Price, that double knee would have just about killed Riot. Blaze McClancy, it just about killed Kara Reinhardt. Eddie Vega, but she missed Riot, and now he's going for a pin. Yes, as Eddie said, Riot goes for a pinfall, hook Kara Reinhardt's leg. 1. Both Cronin Reinhardt and Greg Salazar enter the ring. 2. Eddie Williams stops Salazar with a springboard forearm into the ring. Th. Frank Windsor catches Cronin Reinhardt with a diving chop block right before he can reach to stop the pin. No, it's a 3. Then Price, I don't believe it. The team of Bad Company has been eliminated. Blaze McClancy, the bastard showing that they're in this to win it, that's for sure. Eddie Vega, so close now. All they have to do is beat the traitor and her groupies. Eric Wilson, the first fall has occurred. Bad Company has been eliminated from contention, but they will be allowed to remain at ringside to act as lumberjacks for the rest of the match. Additionally, this match is now a ladder match. The winning team will be the one that gets the X0N Trios title down from where it is suspended above the ring. Disappointment on their faces, Salazar and Reinhardt both get down off the apron. Cronin heads over to near where his sister is laying in the ring. Scott Jones helps Kara roll out to the apron, where Reinhardt helps her down. Blaze McClancy takes off his headset and walks over to Greg Salazar. He asks him something, and Salazar nods. Both the commissioner and Salazar start to go around the ring, as well as one of the ringside helpers McClancy signals to. They start pulling out ladders and propping them up onto the ring ropes so they can be grabbed when needed. Ben Price, free ringside assistance there. Eddie Vega, now the bastards just have to get past these rookies and the traitor. Ben Price, man, you're really hung up on Abby Dresden signing and siding with AWS here. Eddie Vega, yes, she should be fighting for CWF with her mother and father. Ben Price, well, we only know her mother is Valora Salinas. Eddie Vega, but Rob Riott needs to be her father. Scott Jones tells the teams they can all come into the ring together, as a ladder match has no tags. He then warns Bad Company they can only be outside the ring, and not do anything to anyone in the ring. Ben Price, Scott Jones making sure people know what's going on. Jones signals to the timekeeper who rings the bell once to continue. The sounds of Blaze McClancy putting his headset back on can be heard. Ding! Riott and Windsor both rush over and grab one of the shorter ladders. They take it and rush across the ring, and hit Lanza with it. Williams goes to pull a larger ladder into the ring. Riott and Windsor both turn around to target someone else, but they're met by double dropkicks from the two ladies from the upstarts. Ben Price worked for the big guy, not for the smaller ones. Both Riott and Windsor fall with the ladder. Tetsuo Oni 4 hits the ropes and comes off to do a series of handstands and cartwheels over the ladder like it was a balance beam. Abby Dresden then hits the ropes and runs across the ladder. Ben Price, impressive gymnastic work by Tetsuo Oni. Blaze McClancy, yes, impressive. Frank Windsor rolls out of the ring from under the ladder to try to get clear. He's quickly met by Greg Salazar, who lays into him with punches and knees, taking him up against the ring post. Eddie Vega, come on. Why does this need to be happening? Blaze McClancy, because it's how the game ended up being. Riott looks to see Windsor and Salazar going at it outside the ring. He gets up and slides the ladder under the top rope. Windsor grabs it and pulls it some more, right into Salazar's face. Windsor then heads up the ring steps to get back up into the ring. Just as Cronin Reinhardt gets to the corner to help out. Eddie Vega, phew, that would have been rough if Reinhardt had gotten there first. Dresden rushes over with Oni, both pulling another ladder into the ring. Lanza comes up and moves in on where Eddie Williams is setting up his ladder under the suspended title belt. As soon as Williams starts to climb, Lanza is right there and pushes his ladder over. Williams' ladder hits the ropes, dropping Williams off. He scrambles to grab the ropes and not fall off the apron as Bad Company come around to try to greet him. Ben Price, that was almost a bad landing for Eddie Williams. Eddie Vega, I'm going to start chewing on my nails here. Oni takes one of the shorter 6-foot ladders and puts it between the top and second turnbuckles in one corner. She then climbs up on it and tests it for some bounce. Riott and Windsor both jump onto Miguel Lanza and start to beat him down. Windsor gets Riott to help as they lift him up into a side slam position and drop him down onto the ladder. Ben Price, hard landing for the giant upstart. Dresden starts to work with one of the taller ladders as Tetsuo Oni runs over and cashes Rob Riott with a shinyarai, aka sliced bread 2, that she uses the corner to walk up to deliver the move. Ben Price, Oni drop. Blaze McClancy, you know her moves? Ben Price, I've been watching the competition. I have to say, I'm actually a fan of the upstarts over on the other shows. Eddie Vega, sell out. Frank Windsor pulls Miguel Lanza up and slaps him into something that looks like a chokehold. He then slams his face first to the mat with an STO-like move, but he keeps the choke locked in. Oni pulls Riott up to his feet and delivers a spinning back kick to his midsection. She then whips him to the ropes, which Riott grabs, to stop any momentum, but also to stop himself from going outside the ring with the others prowling out there. Salazar is shown inviting Riott to jump down out of the ring. Eddie Vega, smart block Rob. Ben Price, he does know where he is in the ring at all times. Dresden sees Windsor getting up and she decides to leave the ladder for a moment and she yells to Oni to come over. Dresden grabs Windsor into a double chicken wing. She picks him up, obviously straining with the size difference. She drops him down into a sit-out atomic drop, keeping his arms pinned as Oni comes off the ropes with a soccer-style kick right to this chest. Ben Price, OW. Okay, that one had to hurt. Riott quickly moves in, hitting a super kick on Tetsuo Oni. He keeps going and grabs Abigail Dresden and throws her out of the ring between the ropes. Cronin Reinhardt is quick to get to her and check on her. Eddie Vega, hey, see they're not going to attack the upstarts. Blaze McClancy, do they have to? Riot grabs Tetsuo Oni and moves to lift her up onto his shoulders, probably looking for another Riot rack. Williams climbs in, and Riot tells him to get up the ladder. Williams nods and gets to fixing the ladder, which appears to have needed some WD-40 on the side supports. Eddie Vega and Bastards are just a climb away from Trio's gold. Miguel Lanza gets up, and seeing Oni in trouble, he hits the ropes and then takes Riot down with a torpedo-like spear. Williams and Windsor both throw themselves onto Miguel Lanza and start to pummel him with fists, forearms, and feet. Eddie Vega, take him down. Take him down. Windsor locks a mounted front-face lock onto his much larger opponent while Williams helps Riot up. Riot again tells Williams to get up the ladder. Riot and Windsor then pull Lanza up to his feet and whip him through the ropes to the outside. They slide under, following him. Eddie Vega, why are they going outside? They both grab Lanza and send him into one of the ring steps. They explode when the big man hits them. Both of the Bastards then try to get back into the ring as Salazar and Kara come around. They get pulled back out for a bit as fists start to fly. Cronin Reinhardt assists Abby Dresden back up into the ring and then starts to head over to where the two Bastards are fighting with his team. Ben Price, and an assist from the Conquest champion. Eddie Vega, see this is not fair, damn it. Tetsuo Oni gets up to her feet and sees the issue outside. She looks over and sees Dresden is heading for the ladder. She then looks over and sees the two Bastards on the outside with bad company. She gets up, yells something in Japanese and runs to the corner. Ben Price, what is she doing? Blaze McClancy, something one of her parents would have done. Oni does her weird running climb up the corner, alternating ropes with her steps. Salazar had heard her yell, and he pulls Kara back as Oni comes off with a corkscrew plancha that nails Riot and Windsor, taking them down on the outside. Ben Price, holy. That was impressive. Eddie Vega, that woman doesn't care about her body. Blaze McClancy, just like her mother when she was that age. Williams finally gets the ladder fixed up and gets about 4 steps up, when Dresden comes up from behind and moves into position to go up between his legs. Ben Price, what's this? Eddie Vega, N.O. Dresden pulls Williams off the ladder and uses it for an assisted powerbomb. The ladder almost tumbles when she does this and gets out of alignment. Ben Price and Abigail Dresden stops the first ladder climb. Abigail Dresden moves the ladder to the middle of the ring, lining it up under the hanging title belts. She then starts to climb up, but Eddie Williams runs up and grabs her foot. She tries to kick him off. Ben Price, Abby Dresden trying to get up that ladder. Eddie Vega, come on Eddie, just pull her down. Miguel Lanza slides back into the ring and immediately grabs Williams, spinning him around. Blaze McClancy and Lanza Jr. with the save. Lanza pulls Williams into a huge knee lift to the midsection, and then pushes him back, and pulls him into a powerbomb setup. When he flips Williams' feet over his shoulders, he stops, and hooks his head with his hands. Ben Price, what's this? Eddie Vega, I don't like it. Lanza turns and falls backwards, launching Williams back with that position towards the corner with the ladder laying across the ropes. The corner ladder bends with the impact. Blaze McClancy, missile launcher from the big man. His dad would be proud of that one. Ben Price, that landing couldn't have been great for Eddie Williams. Dresden again starts to climb up the ladder. Frank Windsor gets back into the ring, and comes up to his feet, and looks up, seeing Dresden climbing up. Rob Riot also slides into the ring, but he's grabbed by Miguel Lanza, who whips him to the ropes and looks to be trying for another spear. Riot jumps up to try to dodge the spear, but Lanza was ready for it. He comes up, catches Riot into a spinning side slam that shakes the ring when it hits. Eddie Vega, what nautical name did he give that one? Blaze McClancy, depth charge. Ben Price, with Lanza in the ring, I think the Bastards need Fowler back. Windsor starts to climb up the other side of the ladder, trying to move quickly to cut Dresden off. Tetsuo Oni calls out something as she's climbing back into the ring. Dresden looks down, seeing Windsor is getting close. She looks up at the belts to try to gauge if she has enough time. Ben Price, grab the belts. Grab them! Blaze McClancy, Windsor is coming up too fast. She doesn't want to trade blows, especially roaring elbows at the top of a ladder. No, she apparently doesn't as Abby Dresden dives over Windsor and nails him with a sunset flip powerbomb off the ladder. Eddie Vega, Frank. Blaze McClancy, that was a hell of a powerbomb. Abby doesn't hold onto the pin attempt, and moves quickly as Tetsuo Oni4 comes off the ropes and hits Windsor with a flying somersault leg drop. She lays there for a moment, as she yells for her to get up the ladder. Abby wobbles a bit as she grabs the ladder, and takes a moment to start to work her way up. Then Price, she's heading back up. Over on the other side of the ring, Riot and Lanza are both coming back up. Riot doesn't hesitate, and catches Lanza with a low blow he hides pretty well from the referee. He then sets up and delivered an eat defeat that pops him up and back into the turnbuckle. Riot rolls and scrambles, heading for the ladder. Eddie Vega, and a rapid recovery by the former Conquest champion. Outside the ring, Bad Company can be seen on three sides, pounding on the mat to encourage Dresden on. Then Price, Bad Company have chosen their side on this bout. Eddie Vega, you think? They picked a side long ago. They're like 49ers fans. They root for the 49ers or whomever is playing the Dallas Cowboys. Blaze McClancy, can you blame them? Then Price, you a 49ers fan, Blasey? Blaze McClancy, hell no. I live in Phoenix. Cardinals and D-backs. But the Cowboys still suck. Again, Abigail is faced with meeting someone on the ladder, between her and the titles. This time, it's the man who some claim could be her father. Riot gets to the top quickly, just as she's reaching for the straps. He pulls back and hits Dresden with a forearm that almost sends her off the ladder. Eddie Vega, there you go, Ms. Dresden. Let Daddy teach you how it's done. Then Price, she's 17, Eddie. Eddie Vega, not that way. You sicko. He's her father. Blaze McClancy, beginning to wonder if I should bring one of the ladies from Vanguard over here and move one of you two over there. Dresden and Riot start to trade forearms and fists at the top of the ladder. Then Price, that's one long fall down to the mat. Eddie Vega, and Abigail Dresden is about to fall and come up short in the CWF another time. Tetsuo Oni4 starts to come up the ladder behind Abigail. Then Price, what's she doing? Blaze McClancy, don't. Riot gets a solid shot at Abby Dresden's face, and she actually is forced to take a couple of steps down the ladder, as she holds her nose. Riot climbs up another rung, trying to line up to grab the titles. Eddie Vega, grab them, Rob. Just inches to go. Riot takes another step up, and tries to get his balance. Tetsuo Oni coming up, climbs over Dresden who takes another 2 steps down, basically trading spots with Tetsuo Oni4. Oni comes up fast, and heads all the way to the top. The ladder starts to topple a bit, causing Riot to back down a couple of steps to get his balance and footing. Then Price, while they put Riot's grab attempts to a stop for now. Tetsuo Oni doesn't stop, coming up and over the top of the ladder to catch Riot in a diving seated senton. Then Price, holy shit. Eddie Vega, you just cussed. But I agree. Blaze McClancy, well, I have to approve. In a wide camera angle shot, both Frank Windsor and Eddie Williams appear to be getting up. Windsor, closer to the ladder, starts to grab it. Miguel Lanza runs to Windsor first. Windsor turns into it, seeing the big man coming. Lanza does try to fight Windsor, but instead grabs him and tosses him through the ropes to the outside. Riot is laying on his back, holding his ribs. Tetsuo Oni4 is laying next to him, holding her lower back. Then Price, that might have taken just as much out of Oni as it did Riot. Eddie Vega, I just hope whoever is under that mask is older than Dresden. 'Cause Riot just got a face full of her. Blaze McClancy, you can stop right there, Vega. Windsor starts to climb to his feet, but he's met by a running cutting kick to his chest by Greg Salazar. Kara Reinhardt then joins him and they start to both put the boots to Frank Windsor. Eddie Vega, hey. What are they doing? Blaze McClancy, what they're allowed to do. If the bastards were out there as the lumberjacks, you'd expect them to do the same damn thing. Williams rushes in and starts to climb up the ladder. He's quickly pulled down by Lanza, and the two start to trade punches. Then Price, Mutt and Jeff, they're fighting. Lanza is almost a foot taller than Eddie Williams. Eddie Vega, the big guy, looks like he's eaten another Eddie Williams, too. Dresden has to hold on during that bit on the lower ladder, but once it's stable, she starts to head up again. Williams spins around while he's fighting Lanza and hits a Pele kick that drops the big man to the mat. Dresden climbs up to the top of the ladder. Outside, Cronin Reinhardt joins in kicking Windsor. Then Price, Bad Company really hate Frank Windsor. Eddie Vega, for no good reason. They're just jealous. Williams gets almost up the ladder when a recovered Miguel Lanza grabs his foot and just drops his weight down, just trying to hold him onto where he is on the ladder. Rob Riot comes in and hits Lanza in the midsection with a knee. Tetsuo Oni 4 gets into the scene and starts to fight with Riot, while Lanza tries to keep a hold on Williams' foot. Then Price, without Windsor, the bastards don't have the numbers. Eddie Vega, what are Bad Company doing? Blaze McClancy, well, you want an opinion or an actual breakdown? They're doing what lumberjacks do. Eddie Vega, they're supposed to toss him back into the ring. Blaze McClancy, they will, eventually. Tell you what, go tell them how to do their job right now? They're right over there. Eddie Vega, no, Kara Reinhardt scares me. At the top, Abby Dresden is being shaken and stirred with everything at the bottom of the ladder. She decides to just go for it and climbs up to the top. She reaches up and grabs the first title belt. Then Price, she's got her hands on them. She yanks at the first belt, and it comes free. Then Price, she's done it. The upstarts have done it. Dresden quickly sits down and holds the single suspended trios title up into the air. Ding! 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 Eric Wilson, Abigail Dresden has climbed the ladder and grabbed the trios title belt, your winners. The upstarts. Almost immediately upon that being announced, Bad Company stops their work over Frank Windsor, leaving him lying where he is, outside the ring. Blaze McClancy, that's my cue. Until next time, boys. The camera goes over to Blaze McClancy, who takes off his headset and stands up. He grabs the other two trios title belts and climbs up into the ring. He calls out and tells everyone to stand down. Lanza holds the ladder, allowing Dresden to climb down. Eddie Vega, they got screwed. The bastards got screwed. Then Price, they had the same chance as everyone else. They knew the rules. They got into the match. McClancy then walks over and hands Miguel Lanza his trios title belt. He then turns and hands the third title to Tetsuo Oni. He leans in and says something to her before he then takes Dresden's wrist and raises her arm up in victory. He uses his other arm for Miguel Lanza. Abby gets Oni in it as she is still staring at her title belt. Then Price, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The X0 Trios tourney comes to a close, hosted by the CWF, and AWS upstarts secure their spot in history as the first ever Trios title holders for IK0 Wrestling Entertainment. As he lets their arms fall, Blaze McClancy starts to clap. He's soon pulled at the shoulder and Frank Windsor starts to argue with him, pointing to Bad Company on the outside. Eddie Vega, this was a setup. It had to be. Only explanation. Then Price, just stop it. We're out of time, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to tune into the next Warzone. We know the tag team champions, Team Reinhardt, will be defending against the Carnival of Shadows. What else will happen? Only way to find out is to tune in. And